everybody, welcome to 80's Horror, and I am Rebecca, and I am with my lovely co-host, Jonathan Moody.
Aw, thank you for saying I'm lovely.
Aww. And today's pick is my pick, is 1982's Alone in the Dark, not the Christian Slater shit show from the
Oh,
2000s.
you're not saying the Uwe Boll Alone in the Dark?
Yes,
That's the only Alone in the Dark I knew for a while,
Yeah, this one is from 1982. It does not get talked about very much, and so we're going to talk about it and kind of maybe talk about why it doesn't get talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So it stars Donald Pleasance, Jack Palance, Martin Landau. It's produced by Bob Shea. It's from New Line, directed by Jack Shoulder. It has all of what we today would consider to be all of the elements of a successful horror movie, but it's
like a New Line horror movie.
Right. But this is also 1982, so it is before Freddy Krueger brought New Line back to life. So this is pretty much, I think, when New Line was about ready to fold.
Yeah, they said that New Line was the thing that Freddy built, right?
Yeah, the house that Freddy built.
Yeah, the house that Freddy built. So
right, because they were close to closing down by like 83 whenever they conceived Nightmare on Elm Street. So but this, I don't know, this is just a good movie. This is maybe like a third time watch for me. It's got a little bit of everything. I think maybe that's part of the reason why it's not as talked about. It's not a slasher per se. It's more home invasion.
It's definitely home invasion. I would say that.
Psycho people, like a mental hospital. But it's got a lot of elements. Maybe you just didn't know what it was going to be. I don't know. I actually enjoy this movie a lot. I'm curious to see what you have to say about it.
Oh, you want to know now? Okay.
Sure. Give me your general thoughts.
Well, because I'd never seen it before, and I was very interested in it. And I actually, just so people know, and a lot of people do already know, I had COVID this past weekend and everything, and it was pretty rough. So one of the things I was happy about is that, during COVID, you get to watch movies or whatever, just relax, sleep a lot. And I wanted to watch this movie, and I think I watched it yesterday, and I was still I was recovering over it, and everything. And I watched a really crappy movie we had to do for Indie Film Cafe. I won't say what it was, but we had to do this really terrible movie that Paul picked. And to reward myself, I was like, I need to watch a good movie, and I was like, oh, I know we got to do Alone in the Dark tomorrow, so I might as well watch it. And I really enjoyed it. I wasn't, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know anything. I didn't look at the trailer going ahead. I didn't look at the synopsis. I knew nothing about this movie. I didn't even know Jack Palance and Donald Pleasance were in the movie until, I noticed Martin Landau looks familiar when he walked in the beginning. And then, of course, I see Donald Pleasance, and I'm like, wait, am I in a Halloween movie? Is that what is going on here? And it is very Halloween-y, in a way that, he's not Dr. Loomis, but he's not like Dr. Loomis.
He is. So Rob was half asleep while I was watching this. And when Donald Pleasance started talking, he kind of opened one eye and he's like, is that like low rent Dr. Loomis? I go, no, it is Dr. Loomis.
Pretty much is Dr. Loomis.
Yeah. A little toned down, though. Not quite as, high strung as Dr. Loomis.
Oh, no, he was completely calm, way too calm. He was himself on sedatives or something. Yeah. I don't know. I was like, why is this doctor being so nice to these psychotic patients who definitely need more help?
They're on a voyage.
Aren't we all crazy? Isn't that like a line in the movie? I'm like, yeah, but there's degrees of craziness, and this movie definitely showed you three of the guys that were, four of the guys that were, three of them that really traveled in the pack, and then the fourth one kind of joined them, which I thought was interesting, but yeah, it was really, really cool. I was very happy to see this movie because once again, knowing nothing about it, not seeing any trailers. I mean, that's how I expect most people to go see this movie, because I don't know if the trailers show anything or whatever, but like I was so like interested, because I was like, what is going on here? What are we gonna do with this, story, and where are we going?
Yeah, and there's so many facets to it, maybe a few too many. But basically we have this very, very posh to me mental hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And this doctor who I think is like a low rent Jeffrey Combs, by the way. I had to look it up a few times. I was like, that's Jeffrey Combs. No,
I
it's
wish
gotta be
it
Jeffrey
was.
Combs. Yeah. But he's a doctor who comes to replace a doctor who left. And that doctor was very close to a few of the patients because they're very new agey, and they're like all pals and everything with the patients. And so he finds out pretty early on that they think that he killed the other doctor, when in fact the doctor just took a different job because probably he couldn't handle these people. And so it sets it up for a pretty fun story. So the family they've relocated to this area into a very large house with a really weird daughter.
She's sort of like
she's a curious little thing.
Yeah, precocious, I guess is the word to say. She's very smart, like she's like smarter than the parents kind of thing,
Yeah.
I like she kind of reminded me of like if you would have had fun with that role if you were a kid.
If I was a kid,
I think you would have, because like saying that line, like the Valium line, I just cracked up, so hard. I'm like, because she was like, something, she was like, I need a Valium, and I'm like, kid, what? Like I don't know. This is just crazy.
But then to add more into the mix, the doctor's sister is just getting released from another mental facility. She had basically, they never really say it, like a nervous breakdown, I think is kind of what they allude to.
Right.
And they never really say like what her problem was. We learn later some of her triggers, but she just gets out. And so she's coming to stay. So yeah, we got a little mixed bag. And then we've got a very feisty wife/mom. I feel like the doctor's family doesn't match him. I feel like the three girls, the three women, they fit together, but he like he's real dorky. Sorry.
He looked like a older version of Dustin Hubbard. Our buddy Dustin Hubbard. Have Dustin? Yeah. Dustin always gets sort of like Reanimator vibes for his look. He kind of has that, thing. So I think that when I saw him, I was like, okay, I took a picture.
Sorry, Dustin. I didn't make the connection.
Okay.
John.
No, but that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's like, especially if you get like told you look a little like a low rent Jeffrey Combs, like that's sort of what he, what he gets a lot. So there you go.
Yeah. So it's just the foreshadowing in this is just as obvious as Donald Pleasance would love it to be, because that's just who he is. But so basically they kind of have a lot more freedom in this place, and they're bound not by bars, only by electricity. Now nothing can go wrong
with that. Yeah, of course not.
We also have people protesting the nuclear power plant. I mean, it's just like, oh wow, okay, shit show's gonna go down.
Right. Yeah, it's already set up.
Yeah. So yeah, they have this state-of-the-art security system that keeps them in and keeps the the quote unquote normal people safe on the outside. Which of course all it takes is for the power to go out from your shitty nuclear power plant. So
yep.
And there you get
a power outage and blackout, for
right.
everybody.
And they're on the third floor. Okay, they put them as high up as they can, I'm assuming. But you don't have some security between the third floor and the ground floor in case of something like this.
Right.
Just or maybe the third floor, you have to have a key to unlock the door that just goes to the stairwell. something. But no,
but all of it's electricity.
Nope, we're trusting.
And so, yep. So the third story, right? That's the bad guys. That was the worst of the worst. And they're the only, like, apparently only 6 escaped, they said. So I'm wondering who the other two were. Yeah, because
maybe they just did that just to throw us off, because there is a twist. Okay, we are all about spoilers here. I mean, this is a movie from 40
if
years
you've already
ago.
seen it, or if you haven't seen it, it's actually free on YouTube. That's where I saw it, because I don't own it.
The twist, though, I will say, I said this is like the 3rd time I've seen it. I will say I saw the twist coming from a mile away. Yeah. I don't think it's that obvious. Like, I don't think it, I don't want to insult anybody who wouldn't have, but
I didn't.
Oh, really?
Coming, no.
I figured, although there are some problems with that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But so we got these 3 guys. The one is a colonel. That's Jack Palance. I don't know. They don't really say what happened to him. Then we've got the preacher, who is Martin Landau. And then we've got this chubby dude who is a child molester. And then we have the bleeder, the guy who, when he kills people, he gets a nosebleed, and he's kind of infamous. And, so I like that whenever the sister comes into town and she's taking him to that god-awful show, that concert.
Sick fucks?
Yeah, the sick fucks. I would go see the sick fucks.
I know you would have.
But she and the wife are talking, and the wife's like, he's got the bleeder. No way. He's like taking care of famous psychos, right?
Right.
I mean, that's a cool thing, right? They know who this guy is. I mean, that's kind of a crowning achievement for a psychiatrist, I would think.
Yeah. So he's dealing with, and the bleeder is the is the guy who originally wears the hockey mask, which I think, right, he's the hockey mask guy.
I don't remember that. I just know they said he never shows his face,
right?
When they show him, he's got his face to the wall. He's just kind of crawling up the wall, like in sort of stereotypical crazy.
So when they escape and they go riding and looking for, I guess, clothes or something else to wear or whatever, and they go out and they see like a van, and there's a guy at the van, and he gets slit, his head's neck slit by a guy in a hockey mask. I believe that's the bleeder.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, so
they don't really focus on the bleeder for the reason that the bleeder
is supposed to show up later. Yeah,
right.
And you're not supposed to see it coming, like I didn't, because I didn't. I
don't know. Like, for some reason I did. Although so all right, because we just go off the rails here. So he is one of the protesters of the nuclear power plant, and he gets thrown into jail with the mom and the sister. And so do they not get booked? I mean, if he got arrested, wouldn't he have to show ID? Or or maybe was it just one of those, like, we're just going to teach you a lesson kind of thing? We're going to haul y'all in, but we're going to let you go. Or did he steal ID from the person whose pants he's wearing? Maybe.
I don't know. That was interesting. I have no idea.
That was one thing I thought was like, well, how did he how did he get arrested and not
get caught?
And not caught? Yeah.
Yeah. As like, okay, you need to be back on the loony bin bleeder, dude.
Yeah, or like, you don't have any ID, dude.
But he seemed like, the problem I had was he seemed normal. Like, he did not seem like a fucking psycho when he was.
But that's the duality sometimes.
Right, but I'm just saying that's what threw me off. Because when they said, "Oh, this guy helped us out," and is like, basically, this is now my new boyfriend.
I know.
Which I was like, wait, what? All right. That was quick.
I met this hunky dude in jail, and he's coming home for dinner.
He's coming home for dinner, and is that okay? And did you see the hesitation the guy had at first? He was like, okay, sure.
Probably,
I don't know this guy, but all right.
Yeah.
Because he never saw his face.
He never saw him, right?
Never saw his face, so he didn't know what the guy looked like when he was in the in the mental hospital, which she had, but then there would be no,
Right. You think there'd
storyline
be
with
like
that.
a picture in a file, whatever. Yeah. Again, because movie.
Yeah.
Because if all these things, all these plot holes were filled in, we would have a 5-minute movie.
Right.
Like if they just thought to have the doctor who was in Philadelphia just call these guys and just talk to them for a few minutes and say, hey guys, I'm sorry, I got this better job offer, then maybe the entire movie could have been prevented.
Once again, we need the movie.
We need the movie. We need the movie.
Movie needs to exist, and thankfully it does.
We need plot points, and we need people doing stupid things. Like there are some weird things in this. Like the daughter is so mature, and she's like 12 in 1982. Like you might as well get a driver's license and get your right to vote. Like if you were 12 in 1982. Like, I mean, she should be able to stay home by herself and,
done anything else.
And very, very mature. Yet she believes the whole story of this guy who does not look like the kind of guy her mom would hire to babysit her.
Nope.
She's like, are you a babysitter? Okay. Like, she doesn't even question, who are you? Like, she said something about like, where did you come from? She didn't even say like, who are you? Never once questions who he is. And like, yeah, it seemed really stupid and naive. Maybe it was a little before we started getting stranger danger pounded in our heads.
Right. So
yay, Gen X.
Whoa, she was Carol Severs in Growing Pains.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, she was.
That's not Tracy Gold.
No, she was I guess a young
maybe she like played her in a flashback or something.
Let me see, because it says Carol Seaver. An unaired pilot.
So she was supposed to be Carol Seaver.
Yeah,
and she got ousted by Tracy Gold.
Yep.
Damn.
And what else has she done?
Wow.
She was also in a show called Simon and Simon for one episode. Yeah. She was in an after-school special called My Mother Was Never a Kid. And
God, are you serious?
You saw that one?
I seriously just watched this recently because Riff Tracks did it.
My Mother Was Never a Kid.
Never a Kid. Yeah, I mean they just released it like a few weeks ago. That's hilarious.
Was Nina Martin.
She would have been the little girl. It was this whole thing of like, mom doesn't understand me and blah blah blah. She go like something happens and she ends up hanging out with her mom when her mom was her age. It's cute.
Holy shit! Here's another connection. So she was in also The Hand-Me-Down Kid, which was another after-school special, but starred Tracy Gold.
Oh, talk about putting salt in your wounds.
I know. But that was her that wasn't her last thing, was it? It wasn't her last thing.
What year was that?
That was 1983.
Oh man. Now Growing Pains wouldn't have come out yet.
No.
I don't think. I'd say Growing Pains is probably more like 84.
85.
Okay. So we haven't established the rivalry yet, so there was probably no blood drawn on that set.
Yeah, that's that. They were just two kids who were probably up for roles that were similar, and probably they got to play best friends, and then they probably went in and auditioned, and she got the one girl got it, and then
this girl was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go to college.
No, I think what probably ended up happening was the unaired pilot that they shot didn't do as well, so they recasted her, and then it did do well, and then she's out, and Tracy Gold is in, and
and then she's probably like, forget it, I'm done.
After Simon and Simon, it looks like her career, she maybe got married or started a family, did normal
or got
shit.
A job or normal stuff, and like Tracy Gold. So
but she was so good, but she would have been, it's really funny, she would have been good as Carol Seaver. That's really funny. Like that's kind of a role that, sort of like the nerdy, but I don't know. I can't see anybody
Right.
but Tracy Gold in that. So
Yeah, I
weird.
can't either.
But anyway, yeah. So that's funny. I was wondering if she had ever done anything else because I didn't know who she was, like, But I always like seeing. So this movie reminds me a lot of like Assault of Precinct 13. In a way, where it is where people are stranded and in an environment where they have to protect themselves and they don't know how, they have to figure out a way to get out.
Yeah, but in this case, they are so freaking clueless.
Yeah.
I just kept correcting everything they were doing. And I know I've seen a lot of movies, okay? But it's just like, they're like, oh, go lock the windows. Oh, that does a lot when you're like literally like it's an old house. So the glass is like you could just throw a rock and like break the windows.
Right.
It isn't until like they actually like try to get in that they even think about putting furniture in front of windows. And they all stand in front of these windows. Oh my God. I'm like, talk about like just a fucking target, they just stand there in front of the door.
Horror movies where the like Jason will come through the window and grab the person and pull them
but
out.
Not even like that. Like I'm just thinking about like I've seen like Home Invasion or like if like somebody is outside, where do you go? You duck down, you get against walls and things. I mean, that's not a horror thing. That's like survival. Mm-hmm. And these people have no survival instinct whatsoever. No. There's a lot of the girls huddling in the corner kind of thing, which drives me insane as well. But
you don't like people huddling in the corner?
Not when it's like, okay, you should do something. It's just being like, oh, I'm so scared. Like, I fucking hate that. I hate that because I guess I'm a woman of action. So
yeah, you'd be slapping them around, telling them,
I'd be like,
fucking ass up.
Shut up, come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just start doing the dumbest things, and then the cop who's there for dinner for whatever reason.
Yeah, why did he invite the cop? Like, I mean, so I understand now after watching it that it was for death scene and everything like that. Other than that, why is he like? I mean,
yeah, it wasn't even like a let me go and protect you. It was more like, hey, we really dodged a bullet, and my wife makes a great pot roast, so come on over.
So come on over and hang out. Like, dude,
yeah,
he didn't even really know the cop. The cop just like came to visit, like, or came to help out. Like, it's not like they were like best friends or something. And like, hey, Roy.
Well, I mean, the guy's only been in town for like a week anyway.
I know,
so he doesn't have friends anyway.
Maybe that was. It is a good idea to become close with, the police department because if something were to happen, they can.
Then they could go outside and they could be stupid too.
Oh,
just walking around with a flashlight. And I'm like,
no gun.
Huge porch. Right. No gun until the very last minute. And they have this huge porch. Like, they could have turned on a lot of like, not turned on lights because they didn't have those, but like put up a bunch of candles in the windows. They could have had people watching out. Like they could have had what do you call it?
Like a lookout? Yeah,
like a lookout. Like lookout. And like instead, the family's all just huddled behind the glass. Oh, fucking idiotic. What the hell? And the cop is just looking straight forward and he's just walking into the darkness. Like, you know what? You deserve to die, dude. You deserve to die.
He was alone in the dark.
He was alone in the dark.
I was always wondering where the title was going to come.
Right, because nobody is really alone.
No.
I mean, they're like people are in the dark, but no one is alone.
Nobody's, well, I mean, they're alone in rooms at some points. Especially like the one girl, the sister of the main guy, she's going up the stairs, and she's like freaking out and everything. She's all alone. And I'm like, why are you alone? You idiot.
Right.
Did you
not read the title page of the script, girl?
I know. Like, it's called Alone in the Dark.
Right. That is one of the things that we do find out she can't deal with. She's trying to go up the stairs and she's like, I can't do it. It's like, why the hell he sent her upstairs? She's like, oh, I'm sorry I sent you upstairs. Like, I mean, you get this impression that something happened to her in a somewhat similar situation where she went upstairs and something happened to her.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a really, empathetic doctor / brother as well.
An idiot.
Yeah.
Like, most of the characters are kind of idiots.
They're dumb. I mean, the wife / mom, she seems to be like, she's got a good head on her shoulders, but she still goes into idiot mode.
Well, she was a pothead. She is, which is not anything.
But she's a little more youthful. I think the idea is the contrast that he's like so stodgy and dorky, and she relates more to the sister, and she's excited about going to see
sister.
Yeah, she wants to go see a sick fuck. She wants to smoke pot, and
she wants to get in trouble protesting things.
She's
so okay. So was the girl at school? I'm guessing the little girl. Did she go to school or something? Because like she gets dropped off by like I guess a van or a car or something, or whatever. And I'm like thinking, who just dropped her off? Like, wouldn't it be a school bus that would have came and dropped off kids, or dropped her off?
I have a really good answer for that. They probably couldn't afford one. Probably a private chauffeur system. Who knows? But yeah.
Yeah, really, like literally, it probably wouldn't have been that. It would have been a school bus or something, with school on it. And they probably wouldn't have let her go in without, making sure she was fine.
Maybe it was someone in the neighborhood who has a kid that, they have an arrangement with the parents to, drop her off. I mean, that's fair enough. Yeah. I mean, and that was it too. She was just like, she was kind of like, I need to call because my daughter's getting dropped off after school and blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
But it's okay. She's just taking a nap.
Okay. So you said that guy, the big guy, who I'm sorry is no longer with us. Sadly, he died at the age of like 35 or something. And I didn't know who he was either, but I was like, he's a giant dude. Like, I was like, he's got to be doing more horror films, and sadly he is not. His name is Erland van Lith. He died at the age of 34, and he was in The Running Man, Stir Crazy, and The Wanderers. He played a character named Terror in Wanderers, Grossberger and Stir Crazy, and Dynamo in The Running Man. But in here, he's Ronald Fatty Elster.
There we go.
And,
sounds about right.
Yep. And so he was a child molester, and yet did he molest the girl at all? Like,
he did not. And so that was the thing that I think was a little odd. That the family, once they find out that he had been there, they seem a little less than impressed. Like the doctor's like, okay, so did he touch you? No. Okay, well, he didn't touch her. He was just here to talk to me. It's all okay. All right, everybody, let's have a party, and like they just seem like so I don't know, and like it just, they didn't care at all. Like there was no like, oh well, what if the psychos come back? I mean, it's not like, it doesn't look like they live in town. Like it looks like they live in a place where you would have to purposely go, and he's not just going to get a ride back to Walmart or whatever. I mean, like, you don't think he's still out there?
Okay, so yeah, first of all, he's, and then when the mother was going crazy asking questions to the father, and she's like, what, wait, so he was in here in our house? It was like, oh yeah, but he didn't do anything. He just sent her, let her play with these things, then go to bed, took a nap, and then left. And I'm like thinking, wait, why would you be happy that a child molester actually took care of your child?
Yeah, does that not creep you out just a little bit?
Just to think that maybe she was touched in some way and didn't realize it,
right?
Maybe, like,
I mean, he gave her milk and cookies, so maybe she was taking a nap because he roofied her. They don't explore any of these weird things. It just kind of
moves on to the next scene.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if that's like Jack Shoulder and the story people's idea of just like, let's just move the story along to get to the action,
Probably,
but
but it does make the parents look stupid as fuck.
right, because like, why even introduce that whole scene except the fact that we get Bunky killed and
Oh
her
yeah,
boyfriend.
I kept calling her Bunky Brewster.
Brewster, nice.
Yeah, but yeah, so they get Bunky, who has some incredibly deep set eyes. She's got a very angular face. Every time I was looking at her, it's kind of painful.
I like her. I think she's cute.
Oh no, I liked her, but she just had a very like but so she goes to check on the girl, and that doesn't go so well, because all she does, she's like, yeah, she's taking a nap, it's good.
It's good. I'm gonna bring my boyfriend over in the next room and have sex with him while the girl is taking a nap, and she can wake up at any time.
Did you take a lot of naps when you were like in 6th grade when you got home, especially if you were by yourself?
No.
I mean, it also begs the question, did he like slip her a roofie or something?
Yeah, it had to be, because like, I don't think she would have. Plus, she didn't even seem like she wanted to. She didn't even want to go upstairs with him.
Yeah.
So, and when he said, just finish your milk and cookies, maybe maybe he had done something with them or whatever,
But we will never know. So
we'll never know, because it's never explored.
Moving on. So Bunky's like, hey, the kid's asleep, come over, to her, the dorkiest guy.
Yep.
With the huge nipples that are on the side of his chest. Like, they're not like frontward facing, they're like on the side. And he's wearing his pants like up to his boobs, like he's Fred Mertz or something. Oh my God. I was like, Bunky, you could do so much better, girl.
Are those like crocodile nipples or something?
Is that what they're called?
I don't know, but like, crocodiles have like eyes on both sides of the,
like it's like bird's eyes or something. Like, yeah, they're on the sides. It was so
I'll
weird.
call them crocodile nipples then.
There we go. If that's not a term, we have just coined it. So
yeah.
Call Urban Dictionary.
Urban Dictionary. We have just made something.
But yeah, and he was a total dork and whatever. But she was another one that I'm like, okay, I know I've seen a lot of movies, Bunky, but if it's really a cool concept. She's on the bed and he's under the bed with the knife and is stabbing up, and she doesn't know where he is. But
because it keeps happening. So she doesn't know. Like, she's afraid to like run because he could just, step up.
So Rob and I, this is where we got into, bitch, get out of the house. Kind of, we were giving her so many suggestions. She was not taking any of them.
Yeah.
So at first she gets backed up to the window and he's quite a ways away and stabs upwards. You got the window behind you. Just fucking jump out that goddamn window, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, she doesn't do that. And then she's like crawling on all fours and she's got her chest really low to the bed. And it's like, okay, first of all, minimize the amount of your surface area that is close to where the knife could go. I was like, if I could do a handstand, that's what I'd be doing. Because then if he stabbed my hand, I'd be okay. I could still run.
Right.
But just minimize. Like, you don't be like, I'm just gonna lay here, and do an alligator crawl on the bed, and give him more area. So yeah, I mean, Bunky wasn't the smartest, but R.I.P. Bunky Brewster.
And then she ran off the bed, and then she ran right into our buddy.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, she, no matter what, she would have died, but she didn't know there was another person. So I mean, she theoretically, like, if there was one person, she theoretically did it right. But yeah, she didn't know there was a whole pack of them.
Yep. Which I actually kind of like that though. Like, I like that. I've always liked where there's more than one murderer, because it's scarier. And this movie was actually pretty scary. Like, if I were a kid, I would have hated this movie. Like, it would have freaked me out. I wouldn't have been able to watch it. But I really like, I dug how freaking scary like it was, because the thought of like there's more than one person stalking you is terrifying, because one person evading one person is sometimes pretty easy, evading 2 or 3 people, 4 people,
when you don't know, like all she knows is some guy is trying to kill me. She doesn't know.
Yeah.
Which it also begs the question, did the dad talk to Bunky? I don't think he did. I think just the mom did, right?
Somebody called Bunky and
the mom called Bunky because she was in jail. She called Bunky to see if Bunky could go. But did Bunky end up talking to the dad? Because of I can't remember, because if Bunky did end up talking to the dad, it seems like something you would want to mention would be like, hey, so a few of my patients escaped and they might be on their way to our house.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
I don't think he did. I don't think he did. Yeah.
Because I think he would have said
it seems,
something. I don't
think seems
he...
like something that would have happened.
Wait. How did they? Okay, so other than like Bunky's car being out front, I guess, or whatever, I guess that was the thing, because they couldn't find Bunky.
Yeah, and they didn't really care.
Yeah, so they didn't seem to care that her boyfriend was over too, like, because the boyfriend's car was there too.
Yeah.
So...
And speaking of cars arriving at their house, what the hell kind of car was Donald Pleasance driving? It's like some kind of 1930s woodchuck thing or something.
I have no idea, but
expected the horn to go like,
yeah. Man, they didn't even know how to drive some of those cars, because they had to like push instruments to make like, that one car they found, whatever it was. I think that was Donald Pleasance's car, but the one he was like trying to figure out how to start it up and everything.
Yeah. It was definitely a classic, I guess. But he's just, he's got this confidence and this arrogance as he's coming up, and he's just like, hey, preacher, I'm not scared of you. Come on.
He's not saying I'm not scared. He's like saying, oh, are you doing okay? Are you all right?
Yeah.
Like everything is blah, blah, blah. Like I was just laughing my ass off. I'm like, dude, like this guy is not right, and he is now out in the wild. You do not treat him like one of your patients. You treat him like, I kept I wanted Donald Pleasance to live, so I wanted him to go into that,
and because how naive he was about his patients. Like,
no, I liked him. I liked Donald Pleasance in it.
Yeah, I like him too, but whatever.
I have to like nowadays. I have to like just say, okay, no matter what happens, no matter who dies, I cannot be attached to any of these characters.
Yeah,
because in any horror film these days, I get too attached, and I'm like, oh man, that person died. I like them, man. Why did they have to? Like Bunky, I liked Bunky. I was like, I hope Bunky, she lived. Yeah. But I knew she wasn't, because I looked at a picture of her on IMDb or something or somewhere, and it showed her being grabbed by him, and I'm like, oh, but it's like, it looks like something that was like a marketing thing that
it was probably sells, in the trailer or something.
She probably sells at conventions if she ever goes to any, But
I'd pay for Bunky. I'd pay to see Bunky.
Would you get a selfie with Bunky?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I would too. I hope she does go out there, and because even with just one credit of Alone in the Dark, I think she's done a couple other things, but even with just Alone in the Dark as the horror credit, people would be like, oh my God, I remember you from that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, all 10 of us who, watch this.
I don't know. Like, okay, so a friend of mine, Vincent, sent me some information because he's huge into this stuff. And he said, because I told him I was doing a podcast on this, and he goes, oh, nice. I haven't seen it since since VHS, but always dug it back then. Jack Shoulder, who went on to direct A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 and The Hidden. He also supervised the U.S. Creepers re-edit of Argento's Phenomena for New Line. He also directed the TV movie 12 Days of Terror, based on the NJ shark attacks that inspired Jaws. So yeah,
Jack Shoulder is, he was pretty prolific. Nice. I actually met him a couple years ago.
I have not.
He was not very friendly.
Oh, whoops.
Sorry, Jack Shoulder.
Oh, but, hopefully, you didn't need a shoulder to cry on.
Yeah.
After that, maybe you do.
But yeah, so we find out the twist that hunky jail boyfriend is really the bleeder.
Right.
So you didn't see that coming at all, like even closer to time. I guess, but you know what though? You know what? In your not defense, because obviously it's, whatever. They just dropped him.
Right.
I mean, once they left the asylum, there was no other mention, and I don't think we ever knew for sure that the bleeder was one of the people who got out.
Right. Like,
I mean, we didn't know. I think that was maybe the red herring they were trying to throw at us, that there were 6 people out there. Like, okay, so there's the 3 we know, and then there are 3 other randos doing something else.
Yeah, and one of them happened to be the bleeder, which, I mean, I just, I think if I guessed it was him or something, or I had known it was him, like we've seen his face before or something, we knew who he was. I think the suspense in the room would have been even worse for me, because I'd be like, when is this guy gonna attack? Like, why? Oh my God.
Yeah. I like the idea that they feel somewhat safe. They've got this extra layer of protection.
Yeah.
And he cares about environmental issues.
Supposedly, I mean, who knows if he does for real or not? I mean, I don't know what
maybe he's like, you know what?
Game was.
When I get out of here, I am going to go protest that nuclear power plant, and then I'm going to go kill some people.
Yeah, he's a serial killer apparently.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that was what he was known for. So,
yeah. But all in all, they end up
a serial killer nosebleeds,
which is a cool concept. I like that.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
No.
I don't know what word Siri heard.
I heard something. I was like,
yeah, Siri popped up and was just like, how can I help you? And I'm like, I wasn't planning on your help. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know. I think it was the serial killer thing. You
said cereal. Yeah.
And it sounded like, I don't know, whatever. I don't know. Anywho, what else? What else is going on with this? Like, so there's also, we forgot to mention the doctor who got killed. Like the nurse kind of doctor or whatever. He wasn't really I don't think he was a doctor.
The one who was a prisoner of war, who was like kind of a little paranoid. I almost thought he was like a patient, I thought
I saw it first too, but then I was like, he's in scrubs. He's got his own office.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, he's like a nurse or something,
Yeah, I mean, he's like an orderly or something to that effect. But yeah, poor guy, and then, we didn't talk about too, of course, since this is a Robert Shea movie, of course, Lynn Shea is the first person that we see.
Yes. Best line in the movie.
But they don't explore the fact that their receptionist went crazy and that they still employ her as a receptionist, but she's a patient. Like, it's the weirdest fucking thing.
I don't know. Did she go crazy, or was
she? They said she was the receptionist and she went mad, and now she's a patient, but they just let her sit at the desk receptionist. And be a reception. I mean, if she can answer the phone, who cares?
If she can answer the phones, but you can't see the doctor because he's invisible. And I love that, because I love the line from Donald Pleasance of to me to
her I am invisible.
To her I am invisible. Yeah. And I was like, okay, he's very okay with people's weirdness and stuff, like he's not. And then that becomes the problem, is he's too okay with these things.
Yeah, exactly.
When he needs to realize,
it's okay to try to explore things and look at things differently. But whenever there's clear danger, you gotta get back. You gotta put up your defenses a little bit.
When people are actually dying and stuff, this is when it's time to worry.
Now, you want to talk about the biggest plot convenience that you've ever seen in a movie, would be that whenever the psychotic who is trying to kill you because he thinks you killed his doctor, when the power magically comes back on, the TV comes on without any kind of human intervention. And it just happens to be the news story where they're interviewing the doctor that he thinks got killed.
Right.
Like, you want to talk about the biggest stroke of freaking luck ever?
Isn't that called like a Deus Ex Machina?
It's
like
something,
where
man.
it's just where the God machine, where just all of a sudden like something like a miracle happens that would not have happened because or whatever. And honestly,
like,
I kind of hated that. Like, I kind of wish that they had killed Jack Palance at the end or something, had to kill them all to survive, because
I liked that Jack Palance lived, because I liked it that he went back to the club and that he picked up this girl who, like, I think the idea is the whole thing of like, a lot of us are crazy or whatever. She's crazy in her own way. Is he really that much different? Well, yeah, probably. I mean, I don't think we really know what like his flavor. He wasn't like a killer, I don't think. Or they never said he was.
He liked
he was a colonel.
Yeah, and he liked bows and arrows or whatever. He had a crossbow that he used. So he was very, and that so like, because I was wondering who was the one who had the crossbow, because that was who killed the cop, and everything.
I guess we don't know. I don't think that this is necessarily, I guess maybe the third floor was supposed to be the criminally insane, but I don't think really it was criminally insane. It was just the really bad cases. It just happened to be that two of them were.
Well, okay, so
oh wait, the preacher liked to burn down churches with people in them. I don't think the colonel, I don't think they really said what he
did. No.
Yeah, maybe they did that on purpose so that you're okay with him living.
Yeah, so there's a scene in the movie, like I think it's toward the middle, before all the chaos really starts to happen at the house or whatever, but like when they're all outside, right? And before preacher starts burning whatever, I think, or maybe after he starts burning the stuff with the matches, that why give a guy who burns stuff matches? I don't get it.
That's just idiotic. That's not being new age. That's not being like, really, I'm not going to give you a match.
Yeah, you burn churches down. You're going to burn this place down.
Anyway, sure.
Yeah. So they go up and he starts talking to the colonel, and he's like, I didn't murder that guy. He's in, blah blah blah. And he was like, yeah, I know, I know he's over there, all this stuff. I know exactly where, right? And I'm like thinking, I mean, okay, so he does know.
I don't think he did. I think that was the thing. Like, he was trying to say to him, like, you guys were like friends, you were close, right? Right. Yeah, I totally still talk to him. I think he's getting that, like, that a feeling of abandonment. Like, yeah, if he is my friend, I really should know where he is. Like, I think for him, he's just angry that the doctor left him.
Or
I think he's got a little more logical than the other ones.
Or if you knew, that if you knew that was what made them mad and upset, you go, let's have a call. Let's give them a call.
Exactly. And everything. Exactly. Like I said, let's just again.
And then maybe
5 minutes into the movie, this could have been thwarted all the way around.
All the way around, but no, he decided to not do that, and this whole movie has become this really weird fucking, things. Yeah. I don't know. It's
I mean, like, the ending is like the whole end sequence with the TV turning on. I mean, that made me roll my eyes. I was like, okay, I get that, this is a hot story or whatever. So it's not like it's completely random that this would be on TV, but it's like, just that it's like, as, person X is trying to kill you, the news story comes on the TV that is going to keep person X from killing you. Like, really?
And then he just leaves, and
he's like, okay.
And then he walks out, and then they don't do anything. They don't call the cops. They don't, or whatever. They don't try to keep him there. Like, you need to go back to the mental asylum. You can't be out walking around like a normal person, like, this is not,
Whatever, they're safe. They don't care.
I guess, but I mean, maybe he doesn't want him back in the mental hospital, like.
Yeah, he's like, man, now that Leo's dead, I'm probably going to be taking over, and I don't want to deal with that guy.
Yeah, what do you
let
think?
the law enforcement get him.
I guess.
But,
who was the other doctor? There's another female doctor who
who just kind of pops up for a little bit. And
then but talks to Leo mostly, or whatever, like every now and then. But so there was a couple people. It seemed like for a pretty big building, with a bunch of freaking psychopaths, you would think that there'd be a lot more doctors, a lot more people, but they can probably afford all these extras to pretend to be doctors, or something, and
a receptionist who isn't also a patient, but
who's also a patient because she became a patient,
right? And that I thought they were going to go somewhere with that. Like that would have been like one of them got in her ear and like made her go crazy or something. That's what I thought they were gonna do. But
maybe it would have been a funny idea if like the whole facility was run by mad people.
Yeah, but again, it's one movie, so you can only go so far. But I mean, all in all, though, I dug this movie. I like it. It's early 80's. It's got a little bit of everything.
No, I actually agree with that. I see when I watched it, like knowing nothing about it, I was just intrigued to know where this was going to go. Like it starts out with the weird ass fucking preacher dream, that had nothing to do with the rest of the movie, except I guess a glimpse into what he thinks in his head, or whatever, which is that he eats fish and, it starts raining frogs, I guess, or something.
Yeah, end of the world kind of stuff. I don't know. Like let's just throw some biblical crap in there because he's a preacher.
And then that's it. But he doesn't like. Oh, and we forgot to mention the random bicycler who, who
he was some kind of courier of some sort.
Yeah, like a mailman or something.
Yeah.
Delivery guy.
Yeah, on this stupid little bike. Yeah, and they like just are like terrorizing him and running him over. And then he doesn't even really get hit. Like he doesn't get hit hard, but he flies off the bike and like he gets in the grass and he's just magically dead.
Yeah.
Like there's no real reason for him to be dead. Like every one of us have survived like 10 of those bike wrecks when we were like kids. But no, this guy it just happened to get him the wrong way.
And I think the last thing I want to make sure gets mentioned that I mentioned to you earlier yesterday was that there was a reference to Freddy Krueger before Freddy Krueger. So I'm wondering about this. So when the big guy gets, talks to a little girl and everything, she says, "Where are you from?" And he goes, "Springwood," right? That is where Freddy lives. And
I didn't catch that. You said there's a Freddy reference, but I didn't know what it was.
You didn't catch it when you watched the movie?
No, but I mean, like if you think about it too, like when people write movies or direct, you always tend to put in what you know.
Well, I'm just saying, like Wes Craven wrote that, and Jack Shoulder made that.
He directed the second one, but like Bob Shea produced both of these.
So you think that maybe it was Bob Shea's idea to have them both set in the same town, or like close to the same town?
Or it's just a generic name,
I don't care.
I guess if it was Springfield, I guess I could get behind that, the generic name, a little bit more. But yeah, I didn't.
It's Springwood. Springwood is very, I mean, that's not as generic sounding. So it's I think what it is maybe you're right. Maybe Bob Shea, did Alone in the Dark, and it probably
kind of wanted to have his own his own little inside jokes for his own little universe, maybe.
Yeah, and I mean, if that is set, that's pretty funny that Alone in the Dark is set in the Freddy Krueger universe, or whatever, but. Because Springwood is where Freddy. I mean, that's Freddy's. No matter what. So there's this. There's that big guy who used to live in Springwood, and maybe he had bad dreams. Like it would have been.
He was a child molester or whatever.
Yeah.
Or you could even see like there maybe even like one of those weird things where like he had, somebody had an idea. It was like, remember we had in that one movie, we had that child molester and blah, blah, blah. And what if we like combine that with this? I mean, there's so many like weird things that we could suppose upon that could be coincidence or could not be.
Interestingly too is that when I first was watching this, the other idea came to mind with the home invasion stuff was Last House on the Left, directed by Wes Craven. So this kind of had that kind of feel of like, because I remember watching Last House on the Left when I was young, because I think it was on it couldn't have been on TV. There's no way that like USA would have played it or anything.
No, that doesn't seem.
I think I rented it. Must have rented it, but I remember watching it, going, "Oh my god, this is brutal and nasty and not what like." And it was kind of scary, and to go back to but I mean, nowadays nothing really scares me much anymore as far as horror goes, because like I don't know. Once I watch it, I start realizing I'm in a movie. Like it's hard to like, as when you start making movies, you start noticing things, and you're like, oh, I wonder where that light went over there.
Right. You're like, wow, I wonder how they did that, huh?
Yeah,
that's really clever. Or like it's just all technical. It's funny. My parents like they've been involved a little bit with the movies that I've made, and my sister, and then they were extras in my last movie or whatever. And like, my mom said, we can't watch movies the same again. Like they didn't know that movies don't get shot in chronological order.
Right. Well, some movies do. I mean, some movies have, but that's only
in general,
you're not supposed to. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, and when you see that, like, when you're, we have this scene, like this bar scene that we have extras there for 5 hours. And like, we're doing all this different stuff. And I'm like, guys, this is going to be 5 minutes in the movie. Like, I just so like, people don't understand that,
they think that 5 hours will be like 5 hours of a movie. Like, that's
right.
how,
like,
you
what are
can
you
make
doing?
the whole movie
like,
in 5 hours. And
how does it take you that long to make a movie? Oh, it does.
Well, I mean, you have to set up, you have to light.
Or like, even like people don't know, like when you do close-up shots, like kind of the over the shoulder, it's like, well, obviously there's not a camera on either side,
right?
Or you'd see the camera. It's like you have that's for whatever 10 minutes or whatever you see that there's 10 minutes of the other side,
right?
Right? Like basically take any scene and multiply it by at least 4, and that's how much you had to shoot to get it. But
exactly.
Anyway, let's rate this thing. We're getting about an hour.
Yeah. So what would you say?
We go out of 5, right?
Right.
I mean, this isn't the greatest movie ever. I'm not gonna say that.
Like,
but I also am not gonna be comparative. Like, I hate 5 is so restrictive to me. Because then you think, well, I'm gonna give it a blah blah blah. It's like, oh, but I gave blah 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 a blah blah blah, and then you're like, but is this a better movie or a worse movie than that? So just taking it for what it is, I'm gonna go with like 3.5. It's not super, super memorable, but I think it's a movie that I think it definitely is a movie that I could start watching more on my rewatch dance card.
And this is out of 5, right? Stars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 4. Like I really enjoyed it. It's not like the best movie, and as we said, it's got like a few flaws, like stupidity, especially and stuff where I think they do a lot of the stuff because they don't want the movie to end like that easily,
right?
So they have to,
like this is definitely one of those movies where if you put any kind of intelligence into it, like if you put any intelligence into the characters, the movie would just be done.
Yeah, right. Like it's like that's what was that commercial where the people were like, we should go over that way, over over to that car.
It's like an insurance commercial or something, and it's like a fake
horror film, but it's like, don't make mistakes like these people did, or whatever. You don't want to be as stupid as these people are.
Yeah.
But it's sort of what they're making fun of actually what happens in these horror films. Like they make the dumb mistakes. They decide to go to the garage with all the chainsaws and stuff,
right?
rather
Or
than
stand in
the
front of the
car.
window. Or this is my last thing I'm going to say about this movie. Like if I feel like I'm being threatened in any way, shape, or form, anywhere in my house, I right now could tell you 5 things that I would use as a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've got a wine bottle with a
teacup.
Yeah, right.
And smash people, somebody over the head.
It takes them so long to even think about grabbing a weapon, and I'm like, it does.
Go to the kitchen and grab a knife.
I've got this Jason Momoa signed Game of Thrones beer. I'll swap you with this, you know, like I don't understand, like but just sit there. Yeah. And they have that huge cleaver in there. Like that's a great weapon. And they have that in their butcher block. And it takes them a long time
until the end of the movie, you know, until the end of the movie, until they grab that. That's so funny. Yeah. Oh Lord.
Yeah, just go to your kitchen, people. There's stuff. You don't even have to go to your kitchen. Like I said, this is just me not even moving, and I've got a computer monitor. Like anything can be a weapon. Fun. Anyway, all right. That's the end of my PSA.
All right. Well, I think that's the end of this episode. However, next month will be my pick, and I will let everybody know that it's going to be Cutting Class. Yeah. You know, I'm excited. I hadn't watched it since like a couple years or something. You know, so I'm really excited to dive back into that. Brad Pitt and Jill Schoelen.
I love Jill Schoelen.
Oh, she's the sweetest. She's been on my radio show before. She's adorable. So I want to meet her someday if she's ever at like one of these conventions or whatever. I don't know. I don't think she'll be at Scarefest this year or anything, but if she is, I'm dying to like go say hey in person, you know, and stuff. She's definitely one that deserves to be at like conventions and stuff because she's done so much, you know, in the Stepfather and Popcorn and, you know, just so much. Anyway, so get ready for that. And aside from that, I think that's it. And then it'll be, is that it? Or did we have 2 other planned?
I have one more.
Okay, so we had one. I only have it listed as it stops on mine on. So you have one more. So I started it, I think.
So mine is going to be the last one. So
your one's going to be the last one of the season. Okay. I was so confused. I was like, wait a minute. Did we have any more? But no, I think for horror film lovers, we decided to go a couple more episodes than we were planning. So, but for this one, we're stopping here and then bringing back up in January. So I guess October will be the last month.
So yeah.
All right.
You got a couple more people.
Right. Yeah. So there you go. But mine will be back to school. So there you go.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys all for checking this out and hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one.
All right.
Bye.
Later.